there, Guildies. This is the Adventurers Guild.
And we're itchy and scratchy. Let's do this.
I don't know how to function if I can't do the proper intro. Can I still say, I'm Steve?
Still Jesse.
Now we've done it twice. All right. You have tuned into a lovely episode of Game Night. So there was an itchy and scratchy joke, so it's probably not hard to guess what we're doing tonight, and it's also in the title of this video. But
do you remember when Konami still made great games?
I do, because it was in the 90s, so I was young, but I remember.
Do you remember they made amazing arcade games?
I also remember that.
What's one of their best games?
The Simpsons.
That's right, Eat My Shorts.
It's been a while. Hey, don't have a cow, man. It's been a while since we've played an arcade game because we've been playing a lot of Switch content recently.
But my fingers are getting itchy for an arcade.
It's time for some arcades. We're going to play Simpsons, and we are going to do that in 3, 2, 1.
Don't!
You're supposed to say, cue that music.
So yeah, I've always been scared of tailspin, you know? Like, what if the kid falls off the back of the plane?
That is a fear. It's a legitimate fear.
But
Welcome back. We are here to play The Simpsons from Konami.
the arcade game.
Release year? I forget.
When The Simpsons was still relevant.
Hey, The Simpsons are still fresh, man.
I mean, they're running 34 or 35, I don't know, 30-something years they've been
Many
on.
seasons.
So, do I think The Simpsons lost a little bit of steam? Yes. Do I think it's time to end the show? No. I think there's still more stories to be told.
Cheers. All right, let's play some Simpsons, shall we? I apparently am playing as Marge because I'm on player 1 and you're on player 2.
Mm-hmm.
I had intended on playing Bart, but that's player 3. Crap. All right. Well, I'm Marge.
Well, let's see what the story is. We see a diamond, and Smithers, for some reason, is robbing a bank. Maggie!
I always forget that old arcade games, the position you stood is the character you were.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be to the left if I was going to be Bart. Hello, Marge, and your vacuum cleaner.
All right.
Her special attack is throwing
If you
throwing
remember
her butt.
back, we played a Turtles game, and it was the same situation.
Correct,
I was
yeah.
stuck as Michelangelo, if I'm not mistaken.
I grew up in arcades, and yet I still forget that fact.
Well, we're so used to modern conveniences.
Yeah, this is true. But I get to throw my butt. Look at this. That's her special. Her punch and kick, or punch and jump at the same time is a butt attack. Wah. Wah. I remember the first time I saw this game in theaters. Wow, all right. The first time I saw this game in arcades, how impressed I was because in my head it looked identical to the cartoon. And honestly, it does look identical to the cartoon.
Really good, yeah.
If the cartoon were made with pixel art.
Yeah.
The style is perfect.
It's funny because, you know, the story is legit ridiculous. Makes no sense. Smithers is robbing a bank, and who are you fighting? But it didn't matter at that time in the arcade. You were able to play as the characters from The Simpsons.
Right.
The game was fun to play, you know.
But I mean, most arcade games of that era especially suffered from that same ludicrous plotline type thing. Video games as a medium really has that issue.
And there's a lot of Easter eggs in this game, surprisingly enough, which were ideas that were going to be in the first couple of seasons of The Simpsons. Like I was saying earlier, when the camera's off, when Marge gets electrocuted, you can see bunny ears underneath her hair, and that was because the original idea was she was going to reveal that she had bunny ears under her hair. It's a weird thing. So we're fighting Nuclear Waste Man? What is this?
I do not know what his name is, or if he even had a name in the arcade. Or in the show, I mean.
I think it's appropriate playing as Marge and Homer. I wouldn't expect the kids to go after little baby Maggie. It would be kind of the parents' responsibility.
This is very true. Although when Marge runs out of lives, I'm probably going to switch to Bart. If I can awkwardly move to the left and not make the camera angle look funny. I love the boss is about to die mechanics from the 90s, where just the faster they flashed. They're like, oh, they're flashing super fast. He must be close to death.
It gave you hope in order to continue.
Exactly.
Like, what is this?
That's Smithers in a giant balloon.
Crusty balloon.
Ah, the pumping stage. Ready, baby? We gotta pump this like a madman. Just gotta smash them buttons. I'm a pro at this. That is, man, you did not do very good.
I was in third place. I was better than this guy.
He's a computer.
What does that
I
mean?
had 64 taps.
I'm sorry, who took over? Who took over in Terminator? Skynet, right?
Okay, that's a good point.
Thank you.
That's a good point. Krusty Land. This is such a good game. What a classic,
It
man.
was.
There's almost nothing bad that you can say about this game. Like, usually...
You can make fun of the
You know,
walking animation.
Yeah, I mean, we're not a channel that picks on games, really. We don't. That's not really our thing. But, I mean, there have been times where I've been upset, like the walking animation from Hook and things like that. And usually there's at least one or two relevant criticisms for any game. But I don't think this game has one. Like, it's so good.
It is fun. And I feel like, although this does look fantastic, seeing this on the original arcade screen
Oh, sure.
really made a difference. Like, it was a crisp looking game. I remember the first time I played this game, it was in the, I was on vacation with my parents, and we were staying at this little spot and they had an arcade, and I seen it, and I was so excited.
You had never played it before?
I had never played it, and I had heard about the game, but never gotten to play it. And I ended up, like you, being stuck in the wrong area and playing as Marge, but still having a blast.
Well, if these guys would actually hit me a few times, I could die and actually
Don't
play
be
for
so
it.
great, man.
That's a good point.
Have you been to Simpsons Land and Universal Studios?
I have not.
I highly recommend it for anybody.
So we're huge Disney fans, as probably most people who watch the channel. I've made comments about it at various points. But we love Disney. And my kids are still a little, I think my kids are still a little too young for some of the stuff in Universal. So we're going to be going soon, but we've mostly been sticking to Disney type stuff.
Well, Universal has a lot of Springfield built, and of course you can meet the characters and stuff.
Right.
But I was saying it because we're in Krusty area now. They have a Krusty Burger you can eat at, and normally park food is but their Krusty Burger there, which is disgusting to look at, is amazing. It tastes fantastic.
Isn't it funny how much Disney-owned IP is in Universal Studios?
It is funny.
Simpson, I mean, obviously none of it was at the time when it was built, of course. But, I mean, there's... Islands of Adventure could almost be called Marvel Roller Coaster World.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and then you have Simpsons Land. It's really interesting how that kind of shook out. Not that I think that Disney would ever have any interest in putting Simpsons type of stuff into like a Disney park. Although maybe weirder things have happened. I mean, Epcot had a Barbie show and a Barbie parade for a while. So I mean, weirder things have happened.
Especially, the reason I could see it happening is Simpsons has such a long lore, and it's just, there's so many, like, every age group knows The Simpsons.
Right.
Like, you know, my parents knew, I knew it, you know, my kids now know The Simpsons.
And it's still popular, although yet at the same time, I don't know anybody who watches the show regularly.
Yeah.
But there obviously there's people out there that do.
And it's still, I remember the other night, there I am.
I just died.
My kids were watching the Treehouse of Horror special.
What, you Art? Don't have a cow, man. Oh, this is not a good position to stand.
That's uncomfortable for you.
Well, my face is in the camera big time. I should have stuck to the one I was on. He doesn't throw his butt, but he does swing his skateboard, which is very exciting.
And Bart is rocking the blue shirt in this, if you notice.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. We're falling! Oh no!
Oh!
Ah! This is one of my favorite stages coming up, the forest stage. I don't know what I always liked about this stage, but it's pretty cool.
Probably the ghost.
Could be the ghost. Oh, this is the cemetery. I thought this was the... Oh, okay, I guess it's the next stage, it's the forest. Or like during the day, like camp, I should say, or whatever it is. This is a good stage too, though. Actually, I forgot about this stage. This is a cool stage. I like the ambiance.
The atmosphere.
Yes.
That was the other thing, you know.
I need Bart to die so I can go back to the other controller spot.
That was the other thing about arcade games as a kid is you got to use your imagination so much, and you know I have such fond memories of this game and thinking about how like I said, I remember the ghost coming down
Right.
as a kid and thinking it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
All right, back to Marge. Hello,
Hey,
Marge.
Marge. You know, in this dynamic, I feel like this makes sense. Obviously, you would be the wife.
Wow. I feel. I don't
Honest
know,
and
objectified.
truthful now?
Not objectified, but I feel emasculated. I guess I should say.
Well, you know, good word use.
Thank you. See, I have a decent vocabulary. I shouldn't be Marge. I should be Lisa.
That's not bad.
I have a skull.
With that being said, while we're on the subject, before we end the video, I do want to get into the subject. Simpsons really has a history of hit and misses and success with their video games.
Oh
Some
my.
of their games are incredible, some of them are terrible.
I thought you were going to say their ability to predict things, like to predict the future.
I wasn't.
but that's a topic for a whole another day. But yes, that is true. They have some really good games and some real turds. This would be the crown jewel, I think.
This or
Simpsons
Hit and Run?
Simpsons Hit and Run. That's a good game too. That's a fun
Grand
game.
Theft Auto and Springfield, pretty
Right.
much, but incredible game.
But then there's like the one for the original Nintendo where I think you play as Bartman the whole time, where
play-
with the spray paint.
Yeah, where you play as Bart and it doesn't give you any direction.
Right. Now that game, I remember being disappointed in as
So
a kid.
terrible. But yet you rented it twice somehow.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For any of our younger viewers, there used to be places you could go to and rent video games, and you had to bring them back, but you could play them. We had them.
You know, for all those kids out there who have seen Captain Marvel when she crashes through the Blockbuster, that's where we used to go for real.
Oh,
Ah, the ghost! We're gonna leave it on a cliffhanger.
I think so.
Oh, the gray in the elevator. We'll. Oh, look how cute that is! I didn't know they
That
did
is
that. I never knew
adorable.
they did that. Well, we'll let them get beat up on the elevator of doom, and as we end the episode. So, guys, that was Simpsons Arcade by Konami. Do you have anything to add?
Konami used to make great games.
They did make great games. If you guys would like to see some more arcade content, be sure to drop a line in the comment and let us know. It's been a little bit, so we
Have me and Steve talk more Simpsons random facts? Let's do it.
correct. A big thank you to all of our patrons who are appearing right here at the bottom of the screen.
Don't forget to please comment below and tell us if you want to see us play any certain arcade games. Anything from your youth, childhood, or just something you saw on that fancy YouTube.
Correct. And my 5-year-old has told me repeatedly to ask you guys to like and subscribe. So for the Adventurers Guild, I'm Steve.
Still Jesse.
This has been Game Night, and we will catch you in the next one.
Donuts.